Alrighty, it's Doc. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And it is Tuesday, and it's 3 hours earlier than normal that we do this. Trying to give people opportunity to, get their game together and do stuff. There it is. Missed call. Let's see. Oh, what's up? Let's see. Jonas's missed call. Anyhow, let's take a look at it this morning. Let's get over to. That's the gas in Spain. Let's take a look at the dollar index. Let's see, where is it at? Right, somewhere around here. There it is. And again, dollar seems to be moving down. It doesn't seem to be backing off. That's for sure. And, in other words, the dollar is losing it, and pairs trades are picking it up, and that's kind of good in some ways, because, again, a super, super, super strong... Let me just start over again when it comes to the dollar in the United States. People outside the United States see the dollar as very, very strong. People in the United States see the dollar as very, very weak. And every time they say, I've had a conversation yesterday with a friend, and they try to tell me that the dollar is really bad, and I go, okay, then what currency is good? That's what it comes down to. It's like, what currency is good if the dollar is bad? And there's always silence. And they go, well, what about that Chinese currency? It's like, it trades 2 or 3% a day. That's it. That's all it does. Well, it's got to be something better. It's like, I was like, oh yes, I am here. Hi, let's go like this. There we go. And so, cool. And there we go. And so it's like, well, what's better? And they go, I don't know, maybe that European one, or but the dollar is really bad. And they try to convince me that the dollar is really bad. So, many a time when I do the webinar, I always say, and I don't mean the euro, but I always say, when I do my webinar, I am Eurocentric. In other words, I look at the dollar from a foreign point of view. When I'm looking at the yen, I'm looking at the dollar-yen pairs trade from Japan. I'm not looking at it as an American. And, I'm looking at it as a trader from that country. So, yesterday I had more than one. I had two people that one was in the morning and afternoon, the same person. Someone else was from Florida, and they were trying to send me stuff how the Silk Road is going to take over the dollar, or it's taking over the dollar, the Indian, the Russian, and the Chinese. And so anyway, the end result is that it's always nice to see the weaker dollar, like right there. You can see that it's been going down for 5 days now, and it's always that same thing here in the States. I know it's probably hard look, Americans don't have to worry about converting their currency for everyday events, whereas most people in the world have to deal with the dollar. I mean, think of Hong Kong. Hong Kong locked to the dollar. Panama locked to the dollar. I think it's Argentina is locked to the dollar. It goes on and on and on. Different countries around the world are all locked to the dollar. So, in the end, why do I have a frog in my throat? Excuse me. So, in the end result is that it just blows my mind all the time. Is that Americans keep on trying to tell me that the dollar is weak and is no good. They actually say dollar's junk now. They say things like that. The dollar is junk. It's like, no, the dollar's not junk. Oh yeah, dollar's junk. It's like, no, we're just going through a strange period with inflation. It's just nothing more than that. Oh no, the dollar's really junk now. It's because they can go into a grocery store and they have to pay a lot for food compared to what normally we don't have to pay a lot for. To fuel up our vehicles, we have to pay a lot. Normally we don't have to pay a lot to fuel up our vehicles. So, things, the basics. Americans are very simple. I always described Americans as children. and that between the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean, it's like one giant playpen where Americans are running around doing mostly what they want to do most of the time, as much as they all complain about the fact that they don't have any free time. But in the end result is that's the dollar. So I guess it's off the top of my head this morning because I'm going to be meeting up with that friend in a few hours that's trying to tell me that the dollar is very weak and is going to be replaced. And I go, what is it going to be replaced with? And then there's always silence. They have I think what it is that they're listening to the media. And the media, is trying to put on this spin about the dollar. And, in other words, they're trying to tell the American public that the dollar is really bad and, this and that. They just kind of blaming other things. And it just goes on like that. We see that all the time. Anyway, that's my rift, as I would say. Or as Kudlow would say, that's my rift this morning, is that the dollar is breaking down, not bad, just heading down like it did right there. And, it's backing off a little bit, which would be nice because it makes it a lot easier to do business and internationally for Americans. All right, let's go from there. Let's jump over to the currencies. The pairs trades. And there's the euro right there. You can see the euro's, showing some good strength in there. It's got that opposite look to this right here. So that's cool. And at the same time, the weekly is starting to touch the bottom manifold right here. You can see that. So we're starting to get, some, good, I guess you could say we're starting to get some good direction out of it, which is nice. That's important. It's the, it would be nice to see the euro get a little bit firmer. It would be nice to see the cable get firmer and the Swiss. Boy, the Swiss, that's all we see. At least that's all I see. Let's put it this way. The Americans here are not really seeing too much of this Credit Suisse situation. They're calling it the Lehman moment. Lehman was Lehman Brothers, the brokerage house that went bankrupt in the very beginning of 2008, and the collateralized debt obligation, which we did seem to talk about a little bit yesterday, the CDOs. And so, because they're saying the CDSs, the CDOs and CDSs, they're basically the same thing. And collateralized debt securities versus collateralized debt obligations. They're two different. They're the same type of creature to a great extent. So, they're saying that the Credit Suisse. Now, I guess it was Goldman Sachs came out last night and said something about Credit Suisse and said it's not. I repeat, they said it's not a Lehman moment, but that's what they've been trying to push, and we can see it. Let's just jump past the cable for a moment and take a look at the Swiss franc, because we've been watching the Swiss franc. You can see it's. Oh, didn't mean to grab that. You can see the Swiss franc right there. It has kept on climbing, and I've been confused and concerned if it was going to go after this thing when we're seeing strength in the other currencies. And so the Swiss has been really punished for Credit Suisse. Whatever, credit. Oh, here we go. What's Yano says? Yeah, I was yesterday told and found it funny that the member of the board of Credit Suisse is a Lehman. Oh no. I haven't read any of the stories, but maybe if I would actually read one of the stories, I would probably find that out. That's wild. Axel P. Lehman is a member of the board of directors. Oh, well, that makes sense. They're all what we would call incest. Incest is the word. That means like you date your little sister or something like that. Incest. Your dad likes to, your mom likes her son to the point where it's a little bit past the norm. Axel is a member of the board of directors, Credit Suisse, his professional history, education, and more. And so was he at Lehman Brothers? I guess he's one of the Lehman Brothers. I didn't know if any of them was alive. Who knows? Maybe Lehman originally was a Swiss banking company. It could be. What was it? What's the other one? that owns Payne Weber here in the United States. Let me see who owns Payne Weber. Let me just look that up now that you mentioned that. But there's a lot of incest in the financial industry. In other words, people from one corporation can be on the board of directors of another. Who else would be better? I mean, remember, they're not exactly competing totally with themselves, and there's supposed to be remember the old-fashioned Chinese wall? That was what was supposed to be going on. In other words, inside of every brokerage house before quantitative easing, you had the trading side supposed to be Chinese walled off from the retail side or the sales side. So that would not surprise me. Payne Weber. Yeah, it's a Swiss bank that owns Payne Weber. UBS. That's it. United Bank of Switzerland. So, yeah, that does not surprise me any. Yeah, that would not surprise me whatsoever. That there could be a Lehman, and that's a good question. Let's see. Can we look at the U.S.? Yeah, let's look at the 500. See what's going on with the 500. Let's see, where is it at? Right there. They showed some life in it yesterday. They didn't get up to 1,000, but you can see it's still climbing again today, right there. We're seeing some good strength in that sector. Let's see if we can do this. And there you can see it's climbing into the daily buy today with no problem there. What else can we say about that? It's up. It's up like another 49. It's almost 49 points, something like that. You can see that right there. You see we're finally climbing into the buy. What we really want is we want to see this. We want to see this get going, that weekly. See that weekly and you can see at least the blue dashed line is starting to get through the manifold, and the white histogram is starting to get through the manifold. So that would be nice. Oop, let's move that out of the way. And that would be very nice. To see that get going. Matter of fact, the Tech 100 is doing the same thing. It's starting to lift also. And, let's see, where's it at? There we are. Let's move that over. And let's put that line in there. I always like to put the green line in there until it finally generates. And this, you can see, same situation. The green line is still having some issues getting going here when it comes to the NQs. But it's just a matter of time. I'm just saving that picture. Let me go back to the S&Ps for a second. Did I put the line? I didn't put the line in there. Let me put the line in there. There it is right there. And I want to just save it so that it doesn't disappear on me. Save. Because during the day when I go to look at it, it won't be there because I didn't save it. Let's move that over to there. And where's that at? Right there. There we go. So, yeah, that's they're showing some good strength inside the stock equities. There's a feeling that that if nothing else, they know one thing for sure now. Powell can be brave, and that's because the Republicans are going to win the election. They know that part. Let's see. He worked. Oh, here it is. He worked in 1996 to 2015 in Zurich Insurance Group. Okay. I have an insurance policy with Zurich Insurance Group. Can we look at the U.S.? It's back at the recent highs. It hit a new low and then majorly recovered. Yeah, well, at this point in time, this is the stuff I've been talking about. What's today's date? Today's October 4th. The election is 34 days away. It's basically 4.5 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that. It's like, it's like 4 times 7 is 28. Yeah, so it's a little under 5 weeks away now, and Republicans are ahead in all kinds of polls everywhere. So So that does not surprise me. It makes total sense to me that we're seeing this type of action. And I would think that we'll get up into this 3,800 area, and but I would like to see this, lift, do a little bounce like that, and then go like that. But we've seen V bottoms get created. That's possible too. It could be a V bottom where they start to just take off. That would not surprise me any. The level of frustration is very high, very, very high, and so that does not surprise me whatsoever that the markets are starting to take off on some level. They need to take off on some level. So, and you can see here we're seeing the same strength start to kick out in the commodities too at the same time. Cancel. Let me just do that right there in corn. You see it moving up. The world is waking up. Mr. Biden, he's going to be in Florida today. I can't wait to see what he says in Florida. He was down in Puerto Rico. I don't think he got a chance to do anything stupid. They just took him there, walked him around a beach or something like that, and then sent him home. So that it's not too bad. But Biden has really damaged himself. He's damaged the party, and the party's damaged the party. So it's a combination. It's a two-edged sword there. And so that doesn't surprise me. And when you look at, let's see, let's go over here and just take a look at that. Here's the Dow Jones Industrial Average too. The Dow's doing the same thing. It's lifting up. It's going after 30,000 again. It's only a couple hundred points away. You can see it's trying to get into the buy. Again here, same thing with the weekly. It's starting to turn. Matter of fact, I think normally we would look at this a little bit later, but I'm curious myself. So, but yeah, there's the Swiss. Where's the Swiss at? Right there. There's the Swiss, and I would imagine once they clear up the situation with Credit Suisse, because they're real concerned that this could be. Who knows how many swaps they have, how many problems they have. See, they learned their lesson after Lehman. They learned letting something go bankrupt in this area where it's totally like a spider's web of connections. So when if let's say like Deutsche Bank has, I think they're like 29 trillion now in swaps. Right? They used to be 74 trillion in swaps. They're slowly whittling it down and letting them expire. And when you allow one of those to go under, $1 trillion means a lot. And that's Lehman probably had. I think they had like 17 trillion or 20 trillion in swaps, and that's what destroyed the banking system. I mean, besides CDOs, which were collateralized debt obligations, they were mortgages basically. What they did is they put a good mortgage with a bad mortgage. So they packaged mortgages. Basically when I say CDOs, people are saying, like, what the hell is a CDO? A CDO, in many ways, is like a swap. And what it is that the bank or brokerage houses are hedging a strategy for a client. Okay? So when you allow them to go bankrupt, then that hedge disappears, and then that if that client is hedging, say, $50 billion or $100 billion worth of something, now they've lost their hedge, and they could literally be losing, $10 or $15 billion or something like that, or $2 billion, and $1 billion is something. That's a lot of money too. It's not like they're losing $250,000; they're losing more like $250 billion. And so, what they did is they packaged a $100,000 mortgage with a $1 million mortgage or a $500,000 mortgage. And let's say the $100,000 mortgage was a AAA. And let's say we're going to go in reverse here to exemplify how this worked. And then let's say the $500,000 mortgage was like a triple C. In other words, they weren't that. They didn't have as much assets. If they couldn't make a payment, they didn't have any spare money. They were just living over their means. So they were living in a $500,000 home, and somebody else might have been living in, say, $125 or $150 million home, or $750,000 home on the $500,000 loan. And so when it went bankrupt, when it went under, there was no equity to have. So the CDO fell apart, which they were buying CDOs like Merrill Lynch and Wachovia and Lloyd's of London. They were buying them like 7-to-1 in ratio. So in other words, they owned 7 CDOs, but they only had enough money for one. So when they went under, they owed 7 times more money. Bank of Scotland, Barclays Bank, Deutsche Bank, Citibank. They had a ratio that was ridiculous. It was 7-to-1. So when the CDOs collapsed, which we all knew, George Bush, young George Bush in 2005, was pounding the table demanding that Congress stop this. And Barney Frank kept on doing it. And the rest of the Democrats kept on doing it. Yeah, exactly. So the brokerage houses and the banks, there's that frog in my throat. They what they did is they basically were over leveraged to a ridiculous point. But more than that is that the CDOs were stupid to begin with. People kept on warning them. I'm telling you, there used to be YouTube videos of George Bush pounding the table, demanding in speeches that the Congress stop this, and they're going to bankrupt things. And you won't hear that in the news. And the last one I saw was in Canada about 7 or 8 years ago. You could still see it on the YouTube of Canada. Out of Google in Canada, you could see it. But oh yeah, there was lots of warnings. Matter of fact, the day that Lehman collapsed, Barney Frank was on CNBC with Marie Bartiromo. You can't find that anymore. And he was literally crying. Barney Frank was the head Democrat on the Finance Committee in Congress. Yeah, more than likely they were probably doing the same thing. You're right. They probably did get their cut. Yeah, they during Trump years they started cleaning it up, but once Trump was gone, that's why they had to do the COVID thing and wreck things. They had to turn things into a disaster in the world because there's this video out there of Mrs. Clinton talking to Donna Brazile. Donna Brazile was her campaign manager, and she said that if we don't win, we all hang. She actually said that to Donna Brazile. It was a private conversation that was recorded, and there's also emails back and forth about that. So yeah, there's a lot of craziness going on. Yeah, now he works for a bank. I think he works for a bank. I wonder where, I seen him. He's on some board like the way Lehman is on a board. Let me see where. He left Congress after that. He did. He left Congress. Let me see where Barney Frank is now. Barney Frank he was a congressman from Massachusetts. Oh, there's one. I just put Barney Frank up there. Net worth. Let's see how much is Barney Frank? What? They say he's only worth a couple $1,000,000. Let's see. And where's he at now? Barney Frank now is the independent director of a company. Which company is it? Some type of loan company in Massachusetts. He's still in the banking system. Did he get rich? Exposed. They say he's only worth a couple $1,000,000. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. But, that's the same way. You notice they never talk about the wealth of Biden. He has these 6 estates around the country. But they never, the media never talks about how wealthy Joe Biden is. Oh, yeah, he sold a book for $8 million. So they say he's worth $8 million or something like that. They stop right there. But how did he end up buying? He owned those houses before he sold that book. Oh, yeah. Criminalization all over the place. Poor guy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good old Barty Frank. All right. So from there, let's take a look at the cable and see what the cable's up to. And let's just put the cable up on J4X2 at the same time. Right there. Yeah. It's starting to, 113s. We were thinking we're going to see the 116 area when it comes to cable. And it's trying. I figured it would try to get up into this area here. 116, 17. It's days and days of buying going on. And look at that. The weekly, compared to the euro, is getting pretty close. There's a lot of action. I think that, he's married to a fellow. And I would say that I wonder how much he's worth. That's what it really comes down to. How much is he worth? That's the way they play that game. They distribute the money out. It's like Hunter. Hunter makes, 20 million here and 30 million there. He makes money all over the place. And also, somehow or another, Biden has all these estates, like a $3 million estate, a $6 million estate, and things like that. And a $2 million beach house here and another one there. He has 6 of them. And so, but he sold a book in 2017 or 2018 for $6 or $8 million. And, but somehow or another, he's had those estates before that. When he was vice president, he had those estates. So, yeah, that's a real question mark. So anyway, there's the action when it comes to the cable. The cable is lifting. We're seeing the strength come in. The weekly is starting to firm up. We're seeing the same thing over here on J4X. The green line has been roaring up since that low right there. And then obviously it's in a buy from when the hinky ASCII bars are green and the green line is above that. That's, telling you that the momentum is up, up, and away. And that is what we see there. Let's see. From there, we go over to the, see, what do we do? We go to Turkish lira. See what the Turkish lira is up there. There's the euro Turkish lira, which is definitely pushing hard on the upside. I wonder what the dollar Turkish lira looks like. Right there. That's just, I guess, there's the big high. I don't even know what happened on that day. What's the 27th? The 27th was like a Friday or something. They must have been like, isn't it? No. What was the 27th? That was in the middle of the week. Okay, so 23rd was the Friday. So then Monday, Tuesday, is that right? Yeah, Monday and then Tuesday. Something happened on that Tuesday. And it's the same way on J4X. You can see it here too. So obviously it happened. There was a spike there. See the spike right there. It was there. They did it. And they jammed it up. There was probably some type of catastrophic panic and illiquidity, and the next thing you know, it was spiked up into the sky, and then boom, it came back down again. But one thing is for sure, when it comes to the dollar Turkish lira, now that's trading at 1857, and I think what's the euro? The euro is trading at 1837, so they're almost at parity anymore, which is amazing. And you can see that there's the weekly with no problem. It's trying to cleanly jump into the weekly buy. So I guess there's going to be, whereas the dollar is losing value against everything, not against the Turkish lira. I guess what did I hear? I read some war stuff, didn't I? Aren't they messing with the island again, Cyprus or something like that? Aren't they like attacking Cyprus on some level or flying over it? And I don't know. NATO planes, the Turkish NATO planes are flying over Cyprus again, and it's kind of like, I guess that's some type of like insult to Greece, because Greece controls half the island, and Turkey controls half the island, and they had a war over it, and it's like a lot of issues there. Lots of issues. So I don't know. The Turkish lira, it's gone from one under Prime Minister / President Aragon. The product has gone from 1 to 18 over his presidency and prime ministership. So definitely his policies economically to the country are not very positive. All right, from there we go over to the CAD. Here's a Canadian. You can see yesterday it dropped pretty well. It's trying to go into a sell again today. Let's see, we didn't put that buy in there on right there. So we're flirting with the sell as we speak. We'll see what they do with that. In other words, are they going to, normally let's put the oil up on J4X. We'll put the oil up on J4X and see what's going on there. And then there's West Texas. Right there. And then what do we see here? So there's West Texas, which is rising, which is normal. Normally when Canadian's going down, oil's going up. So they've got West Texas over the 83 area, which was yesterday at 82 and change. So we'll see what they're doing with that. Now, let's reverse that out. I guess they're saying there's a Delaware connection to Puerto Rico. Biden claims he was raised around Puerto Ricans. He did say something stupid. They're polling really bad with the Spanish population in the United States. So I guess that's why he went to Puerto Rico. He's probably claiming that he has Puerto Rican blood in him or something. Anything's out of Joe Biden's mouth. Anything is possible. That's what the big snafu was, I guess. I didn't hear that yesterday. No one was talking about. Biden claims he was raised around Puerto Ricans. The man is crazy. All right, let's put the oil up there. There's crude. There's the front month. You can see it's trying to lift up. We're in a sell from that was red and green yesterday, so they didn't go into the sell. There was a green in there yesterday. Now it's red and green there. I don't know, we'll see. And we're in that weekly sell. It's still not lifting. Oil's not lifting, and OPEC is talking about, well, what is it? They call it like it's like a conglomerate. They call it oil countries and OPEC are talking about cutting supply to raise prices because they've gotten comfortable with the $100 oil. So that's why everybody, a couple of people asked me, friends asked me yesterday, why is he going to Puerto Rico? I said, I don't know, I guess, just because of the hurricane, but now I realize it. He's down there campaigning, trying to tell everybody that he's involved with, he's raised around Spanish people. Only Biden would do this stuff. I mean, I don't think anybody else, you have to be totally out of your mind. I mean, literally, he's trying to tell people yesterday, Friday, he was screaming on some strange, speech he was doing on Friday. He was claiming that he had cut the budget 2 years in a row. And we all know the budget has gone up $4 trillion in the last 2 years underneath him now. And he's claiming that he cut the budget $315 billion last year and $1 trillion this year. So only a guy like Biden could say that stuff out loud. and not laugh at the same time. It might be that he has Puerto Rican blood if he had blood transfusion. Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly. He's a strange bug. They had to put him in there because he is so bold. He will say anything at any given time. I mean, he's just that's who Biden is. Biden's been that way for 50 years. His house is only like 20 miles. It's like 33, 34 kilometers from here. Or at least one of his houses where he goes. Another one is 60 kilometers. His beach house is only 60 kilometers away from here. It's not that far away from here. When I go boating on the weekends, I go by one of his estates. He owns one of the old DuPont estates. Now, it's easier to go boating. I boat in Maryland, and I go through Delaware. Delaware is only 3 counties. It's very small. It's like Luxembourg. It's really small. It's like Belgium. It's probably like the size. I wonder which is bigger, Belgium or Delaware. That's a good question. All right. I thought you were about to say, when I go boating, I throw rocks at his house. No, I wouldn't care. First of all, you wouldn't be able to get that close. Matter of fact, there's this airport I go by. It's a half military, half public airport. They do those type of things around here sometimes. One side of the airport is military, the other side is public. And you got Dover Air Force Base. Whenever planes come in from Europe, they go to Dover, which is about 100 kilometers from here. But there's the one in outside of Wilmington. I can see Wilmington, Delaware, on high ground around here. Like not my property, but like 6 kilometers away, and Delaware is about 14 kilometers away. I guess something like that. 17 kilometers away. Let's see. It's something like that, around 17 kilometers away. Delaware itself. There's a bridge to go. There's a river in between us, a big river. But in the end result is that whenever we go through to go boating, when Biden is home, because they shut the airport down. So there's no activity whatsoever. Let's see. Belgium is approximately 30,520 kilometers. Delaware is approximately. Oh yeah, it's even smaller. Okay, yeah. It's very small. It's one of the original states. The 13 colonies. Some of the 13 colonies are very small. Rhode Island. Take a look at Rhode Island. That's probably smaller than Belgium too. At one time, Maine and Massachusetts were one. I bet New Hampshire, Vermont, Rhode Island, and Delaware are probably the size of Belgium. Take a look at what New Jersey is. What's the size of New Jersey? No, it doesn't seem like there's more people. We have 5 people on there, and that's it. I have something that says I have 5 viewers at the moment. So, and the end result is that I'm not going to try to do early mornings anymore. It doesn't seem to help any. I probably have to do 6 at night or something like that to try to get Asians. 1.6 times smaller than Belgium. Yeah. Yeah, most of the old colonies are small. How about that? Yeah. I thought there might be a sweet spot. I wonder if I did it at 2 in the morning, when you guys open up, when Europe opens up, like an hour before. I would probably have to do it at 1 in the morning here, which would be like 7 or 8 in the morning for you. Nah, I'm talking about probably the European hours, like an hour before Switzerland opens and trading. Is that what it is? And what do I do? 16:30 GMT? All right, no, I do 12:30 GMT, right? I do 12:30 GMT. So yeah, I guess. Uh, so the best is between 12 and 16. I guess I'll just stay with that. Yeah, I'm going to stay with that. That's got to be the best. It doesn't seem to be helping as much. All right, let's go over to. At least I'll be able to watch the video. Let's go over to. So there's crude oil. So crude oil is trying to lift, and the what is it? The oil countries besides OPEC are trying to get the prices up higher. You know, they want them higher. So let's go over to gold, and we'll take a look at gold and the South African rand. Where is that? There is gold. Gold's over 17, which is cool. I know it closed in a daily buy yesterday. Let me save this. I just want to save the crude oil. There we are. And then let's put gold up there. There's gold. And gold, it's moving. This is the third day in a daily buy. And look at the weekly. It is leaping today. Leaping. So, and platinum is up. So, we're really looking at some strength that's kicking out here. Very close for the weekly to get going here. Move that up a little bit more. It's very close. Then let's do this. Let's take a look at platinum. Now, you know what? We'll wait for the metals. We'll go back to the metals in a few minutes. You have the Americans having their morning Europe trading during lunch break and Asia in the evening. Is that how that all plays out in the end? That seems to be right. Yeah, and so unfortunately, the action just does not justify the trading. Unfortunately, the webinars. Not the action doesn't justify the webinars earlier. I was hoping to try to catch up. I didn't know that the 12 to 16 is the sweet spot. So there's the South African rand. Let's get the South African rand up there. That's not it. There it is right there. So the South African rand is moving down, and the metals, look at that, it's even pushing into a sell here. And the weekly is trying to break down. I think that this is the time period. This is where I expected it. I was expecting going 3 to 4 weeks into that election, because Democrats are going to get their hands taken away from control of the financial system. And that's going to be very positive, for a lot of people around the planet and the United States in general. Let's see. So then from the South African rand, what do we have here? Let's go put the South African rand up on this. Right there. And it's trying to break down. And then let's just take a look at gold again. Is that gold right there? Yeah, that's not gold. That's South African rand. So we go over to here, and you can see gold is, it's come from no more than 6 days ago. It was trading at $1,624, and now the high today is $1,719. So it's almost up $100 over the last 6 days, and we're really threatening there. Let's just finish this off. Go to the yen. The yen is probably heading down. There's the yen. Yen's kind of quiet. They can't really get that thing to budge. It's still in the buy. It's still holding up. And the weekly's holding up. I think, seriously, and I've said this over and over again, if the yen doesn't break down, there's a good chance that the dollar is just another dead cat, or it's a dead cat bounce, basically, in this sense, in the reverse. The same thing for the euro and all that. In other words, it's just a small adventure. Nothing more than that. I don't see. I think the dollar probably gets strong again, which is kind of crazy. But I would think they would bring it down to the dollar index, like the 102 or something like that. Right now, the thing is what, 108, 109. Where is it? Let's go back to J4X and look at it there too. The dollar is Let's see, where's it at? There it is, right there. 111. You know, I mean, they've really taken this thing. This is, I mean, they would take a lot of work to get it back to what I would consider somewhat normal. I mean, this thing is ripping, just ripping up. I guess when you have Credit Suisse situations like that and a few other things around the world, money doesn't have a lot of confidence about going anywhere else but the dollar. As much as the Americans think the dollar isn't worth a thing, it's worth a lot of money to a lot of people, minus the Americans. You can see here the Mexican peso is moving back down again. It hit the 50 percentile and stopped. And we're flirting again with that weekly sell. What's today? Tuesday, right? So we still have a few more days to see if it's going to bounce and try to bounce off of this area here and go like back up again. I don't know if they're going to go after the low end of the range. There's the low end of the range right there. It didn't hit it last time. It got close, but didn't hit it. You have the Americans this morning, European. Okay, yeah. All right, that's cool. Let's see. I just double checked the line there. Make sure I'm not missing any questions. And then from there, I guess that's it for the currencies. So, you know, I mean, that's pretty much it. Now we can keep on going into the metals complex. So let's take a look at silver. Silver is zipping to the moon, trying to go after the $21 area. Let's see, something's wrong there. Let's fix that. They're saying it's a 50 percentile that he raises 50% or something like that. They're kind of thinking that yeah, see, that's wrong there. What's that? That's the oh, that's it. That's that. What happened to? Let's do this. Let's reload that. There we go. That fits now. So this is, you know, the silver. Robin put an article out yesterday somewhere about silver and the weekly buy and the strength and all that stuff. So you can see there the strength is, you know, it's roaring. You know, when it comes to silver, the spread, the gold silver spread is obviously, you know, tightening up compared to what it was before. Let's see what else we got going on there. And the bonds, you see the bonds are moving back up. We're still in buys for the last couple of days in the bonds. They've been buying bonds here in the States. They're not selling bonds. So we're seeing the strength in the bond market. That's the third. What's today? Let's fix that. So bonds are being bought. There it is. Bonds have been being bought now for 4 days. It's in a daily buy. The weekly still has its issues. There's the weekly right there. It's still underneath. But in the short term, bond interest rates are dropping here in the States. I mean, treasuries are yielding 4 and change now. This is going to be one wild and woolly. 2023 is going to be so fascinating in so many different ways. You've never ever in the history of America going to see a year like next year. It's going to be unique. I think we got a shot at a veto-proof majority. We've not seen that since 1871. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Very interesting. There's Nat Gas. Nat Gas is pretty much just cruising down below. You know, it's not really going anywhere in particular. And oh, let's take a look at platinum. Here's platinum. Platinum is ripping and it's through the weekly too at the same time. Acting very strong, lifting up. That's yesterday. Let's see what today is. They may not be trading it yet. Oh, no, there you go. They're trading it. Look at that thing go. That is zooming to the moon. It's up over the same time period as gold. It's from 840 heading for, what's the high today? 16. So it's just a little underperforming gold, not by much, by about $6. Euro dollar looks like it could reach parity again. You know, that's what I'm saying. Is I think this is just a dead cat bounce. That's what the problem is. Let's just take a look at it again. That's what the problem really is that it has that look like it's a dead cat bounce. Let's see, let's take care of that. That's the New Zealand against the dollar. Right there. You can see it's starting to lift up against it. And then here's the euro. Right there. I think that unless we, the weekly is trying, you can see it. We are seeing that again. And, I can see us getting up to parity, maybe even up to 102 or 101 again. And then I think they roll over again. Because money might see, wait till they see the U.S. government controlled by the Republicans again, like under Trump. Now, remember, the dollar didn't go exploding up with Trump. Because, the dollar was really firm. Everybody wanted to be invested. But it didn't go exploding up like it is now. It's because the whole world isn't, what are they, that old saying? When America sneezes, the world catches the cold. So that's really where we're at the moment. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see the euro get back to that. I was, and I would imagine, what'll confirm that probably in many ways is when Swiss starts to move back down to like 93 or something like that, 94. Where's it at now? 98, 97, that type of thing. When we start to see that, where's Swiss at? Let's put Swiss up on the J4X. That's when we start seeing Swiss backing off, we know that money it's at 98 and change, right? So it had a look for a little while there. It was going to go challenge the 100. It was going after par. But we see the Swiss move back to 96. I bet we start to see a lot more buying and selling of dollars. Buying of euros and other pairs. And, then things will calm down. Money will come back to us in a much more natural way. In other words, right now the dollar is just way overvalued because the world is paranoid. And, Biden is doing stupid things and they got to, they want to park their money where it's the safest. Now, unfortunately, it's that strange occurrence. The United States claims some problem and U.S. bonds are bought, not sold. You would think, normally if a country says they have problems, you would sell their bonds. That's the things that, Janos was talking about when he talked about fundamentals. They're not really totally in use anymore. Instead, in the United States, when there's a problem in the United States, they buy our bonds. They don't sell them, which is very strange in its own right, Very strange. So, and that's really where we're at with that whole situation. I just got a text on something. There you go. Just have to answer that text. So yeah, that's where we are now. And that is at that is where we are. The things are going to change dramatically over the next 2 months. We're going to see a lot of things you've never seen before in America. Republicans actually having power. We haven't had power like that since 1871, when the media tries to tell you all the time we have power. All right. Just answered that text. Let's go over to, let's see, where are we at here? We did the energies, and we've done the gold. We looked at the currencies again. Let's go look at the stock indices. I wanted to look at the Russell 2000. I was curious what they're doing. That must be ripping, because remember, it only went into a weekly sell like 2 weeks ago. Let's see, there's the Nikkei. Let's put the Nikkei up there for 47 if he shows up and looks in the video. So there it is right there. You can see the Nikkei is lifting, but the weekly is still hanging low. And he always asks for the euro, the S&P 500. So that's there again. And then let's go over to where was the other one I was heading for, and I got confused. So Nikkei and Russell 2000. I want to see what the Russell's doing. There's the Russell. And Russell went into a weekly sell 3 weeks back. This is the fourth week in a sell, and it's in a daily buy, like, way ahead of all the stock indices. And you can see the strength kicking out there. Maybe one more pop up, and we'll get it back into the weekly buy. And that's really the strength that we've been seeing too. All right, this is Doc. I don't know how many more times we're going to try to do an early morning one anymore, because like Jano said, between 12 UTC and or GMT and 1600 UTC GMT, or I guess GMT. So I guess we're going to stay with 12:30. We will see you tomorrow. Not the same time. Tomorrow will be 12:30 GMT again, and I'm going to give up on the idea of trying to adjust this for like New Zealanders and so forth and so on. So this is, like in New Zealand right now, I think it's like 11 o'clock. We started at like 11:30 or 10:30 or something like that. So this is Doc from North America. We will catch you all tomorrow, same time as normal, 12:30 GMT. So happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Oh, and the title. We'll have to come up with a title today. We'll come up with something. I'll text it over